Okay, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good Shabbos. Oh wow.
Oh, wow, it's right.
It's,
Good
Pesach.
morning.
Okay, so let's go to the Chumash of the day. Today is Friday, and it's the sixth part of the Parsha of. We are in Tzav. So we're on chapter 8, verse number 22. The Torah is talking about how the dedication of Aaron and his sons and the dedication of the Beis Hamikdash. And Moshe Rabbeinu was the Kohen Gadol at that time, and he's inaugurating the whole temple and the sons of Aaron. So the Torah continues, chapter 8, verse 22. Vayaker Israel Hasheni Elam Elohim. He brought this near. He brought near the second ram, a ram of investors. Yitzbucho Aaron as and Aaron and his sons leaned their hand upon the ram's head. Rashi says Elam Elohim. This is an expression of El Hashlamim, the completion ram. The word miluyim does not mean inauguration, but rather denoted shlamim. These rams are complete mishalmim. They complete the stature of the kohen in their kahuna. So this sacrifice accomplished that. Verse 23. And he slaughtered it. Remember, this Moshe Rabbeinu is the kohen at this present time, and he's showing Aaron and his sons exactly how to run the service. He went and he took from the blood. He put the blood on, placed it on the cartilage of Aaron's right ear, his earlobe. On the thumb of his right hand. On the big toe of his right foot. Verse 24. Then he brought Aaron and his sons forward. And Moshe Rabbeinu took from the blood on the cartilage of his right ear, and on the thumb of his right hand, on the big toe of his right foot. And then Moshe Rabbeinu dashed the blood around the altar. Verse 25. And he took the fat and the tail. That's called and all the in fat and all the innards. Yet it set aside covered, and on the diaphragm of the liver, and the two kidneys, all their fat, and the right thigh. Took them all. Verse 26. And for the basket of unleavened bread that was before the Lord, he took he took one loaf of unleavened bread. And one loaf of oily bread, with a kik echad and one wafer. Yasam alachalav, he took him, he put them all on part of the fats, and I'll show you, he made a big pile, as I showed you a picture a couple of days ago. Verse number 27. He placed them all on Aaron's palms and on his sons. And he waved them as a wave before God. So, guys, we explained that the Kohen put he put all the hands on one underneath each other, and they waved it up and down and right and left, etc. Verse 28. Moshe took al kapeim. He then took him from their hands. And he brought it as a smoke. He brought it up as a total burning upon the mizbeach. Allah upon the burnt offering. They were investors. They completed his inauguration. Which was a pleasing smell, a pleasing fragrance. Isha Hashemu. It's a firing offering to God. Tanakh says, he brought them smoke on the altar. Moses performed the service throughout all 7 days of investors. This was Moshe Rabbeinu did the service of the Kohen Gadol, but in white robes. He did not wear the Kohen Gadol's actual garments. So for the first day of the dedication of the Beis Hamikdash, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses was the Kohen. He wore the regular Kohen's, not a Kohen Gadol's clothes. The first one to wear the Kohen Gadol's clothes was going to be Aaron the priest on the 8th day, which is going to be next week's Parsha Vayi Bayom Hashmini, the 8th day. So that ultimately, but they did this service what we just read the last couple of days. They did this every single day for 7 days. They actually took apart the Beis HaMikdash, put it back together, took it apart every day. They took it apart at the end of the day, put it back together the next day, did the whole service, took it apart. This was a major job. Allah, after the burnt offering, with the exception of this one, we don't find anywhere in scripture in a case of a thigh of peace offering being offered on the altar, because the thigh was always given to the Kohen. But over here, the thigh was not given to the Kohen because Moshe Rabbeinu was the Kohen. So he was not given the thigh because he was only acting as the Kohen. So this is the only time we see that the thigh was actually burnt on the Mizbeach. Verse number 20. Then Moshe Rabbeinu took the breast and he waved it for God. Before the Lord. Over here, Moshe got the breast, but he didn't get the thigh. It belonged to Moshe as a portion of the ram. So he showed the Kohanim that he got a portion as a Kohen, acting as a Kohen. And then he was, on the 8th day, he had to give up. Imagine being a Kohen. Moshe Rabbeinu was a Kohen Gadol even. He was a Kohen Gadol. He was a Kohen for 7 days. And the 8th day, he was back to his Levi. He was, imagine, not allowed to be a Kohen anymore. Couldn't do the service anymore in the Beis HaMikdash. He was a regular Levi, as the Lord has commanded Moshe. Some say it's brought down that Moshe Rabbeinu, God wanted Moshe Rabbeinu to be the Kohen, but he argued with him in 7 days to go down to the Mitzrayim, and that's why he was given only 7 days to be the Kohen. And that's it. After the 7th day, he was, so to say, fired. Okay, we're going to that ends the Chumash of the day. And now we go to the Tanya of the day. We are starting chapter 40 of Tanya. The Alter Rebbe continues. The Rebbe continues in chapter 30. The Alter Rebbe explained that the ascent of one's Torah mitzvahs is commensurate with the level of kavanah that one invested in the study and performance. If one's kavanah stems from love and fear of God created by one's understanding of God's greatness, his Torah mitzvahs ascend to the level, the spheres in the world of creation, a world of intellect. If one's kavanah stands for natural love and fear, his Torah mitzvahs ascend to the world of Yetzirah, the world of emanation, which is the world of emotions. However, one's Torah observance is not lishma, for one's own sake. It's done not lishma, but for one's own sake. Because he feels no love or fear of God, his Torah mitzvah cannot ascend to stand before God by being absorbed in the spheres. This is true even if his observance is not strictly l'shma, not for its own sake, meaning for some selfless motive. Even if you were to act out of habit, in that case, the Torah wrote, however, the Torah ascends before God. So the beauty of doing something, not when you do something for your own ego, then you have to do tshuva, which everybody will do tshuva. The Alter Rebbe says it's brought down. Every Jew will do tshuva, whether in this reincarnation, another reincarnation. Every Jew will do tshuva. If a Jew does Torah shalelish, but not before because of self purpose, but that's out of rote. So here he doesn't have to do tshuva. The Alter Rebbe says. The second, the Torah ascends before God when he reviews a subject l'shma. The second he reviews something l'shma, he does a mitzvah l'shma, he does automatically takes everything that he did for not the right reason and he elevates it with the right reason. It's a beautiful Tanya. So now the Alter Rebbe continues. But as long as he does not review the subject l'shma, then the study does not descend. The 10 spheres related to the world of Yetzirah and Asiyah, it does not descend. Not to mention the spheres of Bria. It basically stays in Olam Hazeh Tachten. His whole Torah and mitzvahs are all stay right in this world, this physical world. And that's it. Why? Spheres and bechinas alakos, because the spheres are a level of godliness. And within them clothes itself God. And therefore, were this person trying to ascend into the spheres, would actually ascend to Ein Sof. This is so important. And without love and fear, they cannot rise and stand before God. As it's written, it's written in Isaiah. So therefore, you need to have some kavanah in your life. You need to have some aspect of thought, and which creates an emotion or aspect of awe, of fear of God. The study of Torah goes into the chambers and abodes of Yisrael, which are the external words, are the externality of the worlds. Spirits are the internal aspect of each world, meaning the divine creative power. The chambers constitute of the created world itself. So there's chitzonius of Asiya, which is this world. The pnimius of Asiya is spiritual. Where angels are situated. Which quotes of Rav Chaim Vital as brought down by Rav Chaim Vital, a blessed memory. The Chaim Vital was the main student of the Arizal. He wrote all the teachings. Every teaching of the Arizal we have today is Rav Chaim Vital. He's buried right next to him in Sfat. Bishara Nevuah, as he brought it down in the portal of prophecy, chapter 2. A Torah without any kavanah. Angels are created in the world of Yitzira. And from the mitzvahs of without kavanah, angels are created from the world of Asiya. Wow, very interesting. This indicates that Torah mitzvahs without kavanah are not absorbed in the spheres, but rather only to the level of angels or created beings, and thus on a level of externality of those worlds. Wow. One might argue that a Chaim Vital statement cannot be cited in support of the Alter Rebbe statement. The former speaks of Torah mitzvah without kavanah, while the latter deals with Torah mitzvahs that are not absorbed l'shma. Perhaps the meaning without kavanah is that one recited the words or performed the mitzvah in a mechanical manner without involving his thought at all. Certainly, we might say that such a lowly level of observance is incapable of rising any higher than the level of angels. With Torah mitzvahs lacking only the quality of lishma, may indeed, we might argue, we might absorb and rise into the spheres. And to restore such an argument, the Alter Rebbe then goes and explains Rabbi Chaim Vital's words. All amalachim, now all angels, all angels are matter and form. So the Alter Rebbe says over here, explaining over here. So it's very interesting. Let's learn the colored box. Similarly, with angels created of Torah and mitzvahs, the angels' matter is formed by the matter of Torah and mitzvahs, and they're formed by the form of Torah. It's very interesting in Kabbalah that we create angels. That's why sometimes if we don't say the word correctly, we can create a deformed angel, God forbid. Or we did a mitzvah not totally perfectly, we created a handicapped angel. Thus, any mitzvah which an angel is created must consist of more than mere mechanical action, which is the matter of the mitzvah. It must also contain some thought, such as the understanding of the words of Torah that one recites, or the realization that he's performing a mitzvah. And this thought is the form of the mitzvah. Clearly, then, the Chaim Vital is not dealing with the mechanical observance when he says that Torah and mitzvahs without kavanah produces angels in Yitzira Asir. The term without kavanah, as used here, must refer to the Torah and mitzvahs lacking the intention of lishma for the sake of heaven. Yet for lacking Lishma, the Torah and mitzvahs can ascend only to the level of angels, not the spheres. All the foresaid concerning Torah and mitzvah, which is lacking the intention to Lishma, but which are not performed expressly, Shaloi Lishma, we're all talking not Chas Shalom that he did Torah and mitzvah Shaloi Lishma for personal motive, because then he has to do tshuva. Torah Shaloi Lishma. If somebody learns Torah for not the right reason, he learns Torah as without the, I mean, it's not the right reason. This is very powerful. Even to be a great sage. He's learning Torah to be a great sage. Hi, Gavna. This is all Shaloi Lishma. Ain't a oila klal l'mayla. If you have ulterior motives that you're learning Torah, I'm learning Torah, or I'm doing mitzvahs, all because of my own grandeur, my own greatness, doesn't go nowhere. Your Torah and mitzvahs are stuck here. Does not even go to the chambers and abodes of the holy angels. Why? Because even the externality of the world is, after all, realms of holiness. Therefore, Torah study with such intention does not ascend even to this level. It gets stuck in this world, in this physical world, which is an abode of klippas. Because by me learning for my own ego, for my own greatness, even if it's greatness to be a scholar, then basically I am clothing as Alter Rebbe said, I'm like putting in gullus my Torah. I'm garmenting it with a clipper that is surrounding this mitzvah, this Torah. Shumadir haklippus. Moshe Kosev b'zeh. Now the Alter Rebbe puts in the Haggadah, which is the box that we're going to learn. Note the Zohar in page Zohar B'chelik 3, the chapter 3, page 31, Amud Beis, second side, and page 121, second side, Ayin Sham. Look over there in the Zohar. Himila Silko Barikim, that the spoken words ascend on high and pierce the heavens and invokes what it evokes. Itav Tav, Ayin Sham, the word is good. A word of Torah is like evokes good, no there. With Daf Kufay, and look into page 105, the first side. Mila de Raisi is bar minik kosalik, that the words of Torah, a voice is formed which rises. With Daf Kuf Samachet, and you can look at the Zohar on page 168, the second side. Kolin de Raisa, the verses of Torah. It's also Bekin Akin. And the words of prayer pierce the heaven. So all three passages from the Zohar indicate that the words of Torah ascend on high, rendering the heavens. So it seems, Alter Rebbe says, it seems in the Zohar that if you say that's the power of not limiting Torah, that's the power of saying the words of Torah. So opening up a Chumash and saying, like we did today in the morning, we read the Chumash. Opening up a Bible and reading the pasuk has a great power. And it's not you don't need that's the concept of that's the aspect of reading Torah. Reading the words of Torah breaks heavens, so to say. So we're not talking about that. Alter Rebbe puts in his Haggadah, in his statement, that we're not talking about that. We're talking about limit Torah, learning Torah, and what you accomplish learning Torah. But saying the words of Torah has its own power. Back to the Tanya. The Zohar writes in the verse, what profit has man from all his toil and he labors under the sun? Our sages point out that only man's labor under the sun, meaning his toil in the mundane matters, does not realize any profit. What is the worth? All the work that I do every day when it comes to heaven, garnished, has no value in heaven. After 120 years, all my labor, all my work, garnished, all what I've built and all these things in the physical world, garnished. has no value in heaven. Heaven's a spiritual world, doesn't have any value. However, the labor of Torah, however, which is above the sun, which is above the world, and does indeed profit man. So the verse that says, Zoya explains the verse, that what is worth anything that you do in this world? Garnish, because in the heavens it's all worthless. Besides the Torah mitzvahs you do, that's the only thing that has any value in heaven. Because the Torah mitzvahs are above the sun, and the world is below the sun. It's like the sun is a symbolic concept. The afilo alma that I see of a beginning Torah. The Zohar says even with a Torah, if one does it for his own sake, what is it worth? If you can do the Torah for the sake of higher than the sun, above the sun, I mean you're doing the Torah for the sake of heaven, then you connect to the Torah to higher than the sun. But if you do it, if you're learning Torah for your own self greatness, what is it worth? It's still below. It's going to stay below the sun. And this is what the sages says. Very very famous statement of the Gemara. It doesn't exactly say that statement in Pesachim. It's a Gemara Pesachim. Oh, Pesach. So it's a Gemara Pesachim. The Gemara says, happy is a person that comes to heaven with his study in his hands. What does that mean, the study in his hands? Hirush shalei nisha lamata be'elamazah. Great is a person that comes to heaven with his study in his hands because they did not stay in this world. Imagine if you're learning Torah your whole life and you come to heaven and you have nothing from it. Why? Because you learn Torah all all for your own self greatness, and it stayed in this world. Ashing great is spiritually, he did not remain below in this world. Great is a person that comes to heaven and everything is in his hand because he did it for the sake of God and he elevated all above already. So he comes there and it's there already for him. It's already there for him because he already elevated his Torah and his mitzvahs to the world of Yetzirah, to the world of Bria, even if he was a tzaddik, to the world of Atzilus. And that's the beauty of doing something lishma. So therefore, my friends, I think the lesson to us, we cannot, as it says, the Gemara says, a person a person shouldn't wait for the lishma, because from doing it not for the right reasons, or come to the right reason. So therefore, if you do it out of rote, you got to do what you got to do. So you got to do Torah mitzvahs, no question about it. And never do it for egotistical reasons, for self-grandeur and self-greatness. Never do that. Do it maybe because that's what you brought up, or you were told to do it, or you're afraid of your grandmother. I don't know what the reason is. That's fine. And once in a while, do it lishma. Once in a while, do the mitzvah lishma. Learn the Torah lishma. And then you'll take all the shalei lishma and you'll elevate it with the lishma. You'll take all that you did for not the right reason and you'll do it. You'll elevate it with the right reason. So we all need to do once in a while a mitzvah lishma for the sake of heaven, for God. So do a mitzvah lishma. Mitzvah, we're coming to Pesach. We should try to eat matzah lishma for the sake of heaven. Make a bracha on the mitzvah. It's a beautiful yontiv. We're going to take the yontiv. We're going to elevate it all lishma for the sake of heaven. And we're going to do Torah. We're going to elevate everything that we did in the past year for the sake of heaven. It's going to all go to the heaven, Lamaila, and God will see all that our intentions are lishma, even though we did things shaloi lishma, for not for the sake of the right reasons. That ends the Tanya of the day. It's important, we're not going to be learning Tanya for the next 3 days. Shabbos and Sunday and Monday. Shabbos and Sunday, Monday is Yontiv. So we'll get together again on Tuesday. But hopefully you'll continue to learn Tanya. Don't not stop. So when we come back on Tuesday, we will all be at the same place. Today is the 13th day of the month, which is chapter 69, 70, 71. So chapter 69 to 71. I wish you all, my friends, a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos. Should be a restful Shabbos. And as we go from Shabbos into Pesach, I wish you a wonderful Pesach, a Chag Pesach kosher v'sameach. We should all merit to the coming of Mashiach, so that we'll all celebrate this year Pesach Mitchem in Eretz Yisrael, as we say in our prayers. We will eat in the Beis Hamikdash, in the Eretz Yisrael, in Yerushalayim, from the sacrificial offerings. Let us hope we'll merit to that. Mamish, speedily in our days.
Amen.
A happy, wonderful Shabbos, a beautiful Pesach. I hope everybody has all the necessities for Pesach. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to call us. God bless you all. Have a beautiful Shabbos. And for Chitas, we'll see you on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. Have a wonderful.
What time is burning at your house?
Burning at my home is starting from 11:30 today. If you want to burn, come to my house, and you can come to the side of my house, to the back, and bring your chametz. Please do not bring the whole kitchen, only 10 pieces of bread. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. God bless you all.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.